being victimized by our own government. One man whom they fear, yet whom millions love. One man who is willing to take the poison arrows of lawfare. One man whose voice has been taken away by a corrupt judge operating in a corrupt system. One man who has been ridiculed and insulted. One man who refused to back down. One man who refused to back down. One man who refused to back down. One man who stands between us and them. One man that wants to see America protected again. One man who wants to see America prosper again. One man who understands that a man is a man and a woman is a woman. One man who understands and protects the blessing of life. One man who wants to restore American exceptionalism. One man who once again wants to make America that shining city on a hill for all to see. A place where all the people of the world glowingly set their eyes upon. America. One man who unashamedly wants to make America great again. That one man is Donald Trump.
This is Fanfare with Barry Cunningham.
Oh my gosh, let me explain. First, welcome you to the evening show. But I feel like I've got some explaining to do. That first part of the show is actually a ongoing loop that is being broadcast live or semi-live. It's actually being looped on the White House feeds all over YouTube and all over X as well, and wherever else they're doing feeds. And it's called a lo-fi roll. It's a lo-fi loop. And what they're doing is they put a split screen with President Trump in front of the Capitol. You know, it's January 6th and everything. And then they're scrolling through all of his accomplishments for the last year or so. A real nice dig at the Democrats, who didn't need much digging at, because as you just saw, they had their own funeral today. They had their own funeral for the Democrat Party. I put this show together today, and as you saw on the lower third, it says the Democrats got nothing. I didn't realize they were going to give me something to have like an accent. I didn't realize they'd give me something to punctuate what I was already going to be talking about, meaning they got nothing. And in fact, it looked like they were having their own funeral. I don't know who puts the Democrat strategy together, but I think they're going to realize that trying to dredge up January 6th all over again is not going to help them. Nobody cares. I don't even think people on their side care. I don't even think people who were around on January 6th even care. those who went to jail, obviously they're scarred, but the rest of the country kind of like, what are you guys doing? What are you talking about? January 6th, I don't think you should be dredging that back up. I think personally they played right into the hands of Donald Trump. What a perfect way to talk about 2020 than to have you guys coming out and doing vigils, absolute candlelight vigils for what happened on January 6th. Because there's going to be a lot of people going, what is this all about? Oh, you want to know what this is about, huh? You're about to find out. I'm pretty sure I would almost bet money on it. We're going to find out. And those of you who don't know are going to find out more than you've ever imagined. I showed it a lot last night in terms of what has been happening, what has been uncovered, and these idiots just gave President Trump the most perfect intro ever. Ever. I hadn't even planned on talking about it until I saw them making a big deal about it, and then I saw what President Trump posted. President Trump or the team in the White House came up with their own. This is just simply amazing. It's so big, I can't even show it because it's such a big website, what they've put together here. They put their own January, let me see if I can condense it. Yeah, I think I can. They put together their own January 6th website, an entire website put together to tell the story of what happened on January 6th. And look who they got front and center, Nancy. And of course, then the rest of the seditionists. Probably every person in that picture is probably going to see some form of an indictment very soon. Remember, January 12th, down here in Fort Lauderdale and in Fort Pierce, two separate grand juries have been impaneled, and we don't know who they're going to be looking at. But this website, if you haven't had a chance to go to it, is whitehouse.gov/J6. whitehouse.gov/J6. I'm not shaking it. They put that picture to tremble right in there. And it says President Trump took decisive action to pardon January 6 defendants who were unfairly targeted, overcharged, and used as political examples. They were not protected by the leaders who failed them. They were punished to cover incompetence. And it just goes on. It's a one-pager. It's got some video in here. It's got different stories. It's got a timeline. Exactly. You guys can spend a whole lot of time on here. Again, that is whitehouse.gov/J6. And if you're scrolling, it just keeps scrolling, and it's got pictures, and it's got stories. It's got the reports. Everything is in here for anybody who really wants to see. See, there was a time when President Trump was going through the, ringer with everything, and they didn't want the word to get out. Now they're going out there having candlelight vigils, and President Trump, now that he's a president, has unclassified this stuff and is posting it. Good move, Democrats. Really good move doing the Streisand effect and getting people to actually look at this thing. I mean, have at it. Grab some dinner, grab some coffee, and just keep scrolling. I mean, literally, you could spend quite some time just going through that. whitehouse.gov/J6. Take a look at it yourself at your convenience. It's worth taking a look at. It's worth sharing the link. Let other people look at it. While other people in the Democrat Party are crying and having all kinds of committee hearings and nobody's watching and having candlelight vigils for what? I don't know. The only person who died, they killed. So I'm not sure what they're trying to reenact. Big mistake. Big mistake. You're bringing a lot of eyeballs onto something that you might have just wanted to go away. And now you gave him the opportunity to begin bringing up everything about it. And now he has. So good for you. Yeah, idiots. Before I get too far into this, I wanted to share with you some breaking news per se. Actually, I have two bits of breaking news. Let me do the easy one first. The easy one would be this. And I congratulate you if you are involved in this, if you've had some part in it, if you've been lucky enough or fortunate enough to involve yourself. It's this. Silver has just went over $82 an ounce. 82.19 right now. It had gotten up to 82.40, 82.50. As you can see, it's moving around and everything, but it's at 82.17 right now. $82 a share. At the same time as I'm ecstatic about it financially, at the same time as I'm looking at gold over 4,500 and ecstatic financially, I'm also starting to wonder what the hell is going on. You know, we had heard the stories that gold would peak. I mean, if silver would peak at 75, if it would close any day at 75, there are a lot of big banks that were going to poop the bed. I don't know what's going on. I haven't seen or heard anything of any such banks being liquidated. But if that was the case, if they are so far under at 75, they're going to get buried at 80. They're going to get absolutely buried at 82, 84, 85. Everything they tried to do over the weekend, because things were closed because of the New Year's holiday, they were trying to suppress it, trying to dump stuff, and they were able to drop it and put it back nearly at 70 or 69. And most of us, like people ask me, I'm like, wait till after the holiday, wait till things open up again, hold, don't move, don't panic. This was expected. They had basically New Year's Eve, New Year's Day, Saturday, Sunday, and everybody was seeing it go down and everything. I'm like, wait. It's been closed. They're trying to do everything they can to suppress it. And here we are on Tuesday, right? Tuesday. And we're at $82 an ounce. So look around. Watch what happens, because things are going to be ballistic if these banks are indeed caught short. If these banks are caught the way people have been telling us, if they have positions where they have so much of this paper crap that they can't get rid of, if they don't have that, then there's going to be a serious issue. Let's just see what happens. Let's see what happens. All right. So also what I want to show you, SV said my volume is going up and down. No, my volume seems to be steady here. It must have been that music. That Muzak stuff was up and down, not me. All right, so in addition, I wanted to show you what President Trump posted, a little bit more breaking news. Do I have a breaking news button here?
Breaking news into the Fanfare news feed.
All right, so I want to show you this, what President Trump posted. This is absolutely huge. I am pleased to announce that the interim authorities in Venezuela will be turning over between 30 and 50 million barrels of high-quality sanctioned oil to the United States of America. This oil will be sold at its market price, and that money will be controlled by me as President of the United States of America to ensure it is used to benefit the people of Venezuela and the United States. I have asked Energy Secretary Chris Wright to execute this plan immediately. It will be taken by storage ships and brought directly to unloading docks in the United States. Thank you for your attention to this matter, which I am paying attention closely. And that was at, as you can see, 6:46 p.m. That just happened. That is phenomenal. Remember today, I don't know if you saw all the panicans were like, oh, the Delsey's not going to work with the United States, and it's not what you guys think it is. They don't know crap. They have nothing. I've been trying to tell you. I'm telling you again, they don't have anything. They're grasping at straws. Every single thing they do, you sit back and go, hold on, let's wait. He said he had a deal with them. Marco said there was a deal with them. CNN, MSNBC, oh, there's no deal. They can't do anything. Seriously? Basically a good faith deposit, dropping 50 million barrels being given to the United States for the benefit of the United States people and the Venezuelan people. Do the math on that. 50 million, and crude is going for anywhere between 50 and 60 bucks a barrel. You can do the math on that. 50 bucks would be what? 50 times a million would be 50 million, and 50 million times 5 would be, we're talking huge dollars. Massive amount of money. Just dipping his beak, just getting a taste. 3 or 4 days later, already getting a taste. Don't listen to the panicans. I keep telling you, I don't know why these people are who they are. I don't know why anybody pays attention to them. This guy is kicking butt and taking names. And tomorrow, I guarantee you, if not tonight, some of them will be saying, oh, that's really no big deal. Oh, it's not what you think it is. Oh, let's see if the oil actually arrives. You're going to hear all that kind of stuff. 50 million barrels as the first indication of the partnership with Venezuela. Literally 3 or 4 days later. Can you imagine how much oil is going to be pulled over to America? I filled up today. I always use high test, which is obviously a lot more expensive, premium gas. But the pump here in Boca had regular at $2.59. You're going to hear more about this stuff as we go on, but the Democrats have nothing. You really want to go out there and talk about January 6th when this kind of stuff is happening? You're out of your mind. You're out of your doggone minds. It's absolutely insane. And I know you guys must be thinking, I saw today like half the country is below $2.50 in gas. Big portion of the country is below $2. How can anybody, seriously, how can anybody be wishing against this success? Well, the only way you could be is if you really don't want America to succeed. You don't want America to prosper. You don't want people to keep more money in their pockets. Think about it in a long-term basis. When I say long-term, 6 to 12 months. Every single truck carrying every single item to some store is going to be able to do it cheaper, which then would translate to cheaper goods. It's freaking phenomenal. And I'm not just cheering because I'm a Trump fan. I'm cheering because I'm a husband, a grandfather, and a father, and a business person. I'm like, this is awesome. And you guys are doing funeral processions with candlelight vigils. You have people on X not wanting to understand how huge this can be, not just for us, but the Venezuelan people. I'm cheering for the Venezuelan people. I'm cheering for the Iranian people. I'm cheering for anybody who wants to have a normal chance at life with opportunities and prosperity at their beckon. Except for people in New York who decided what they were going to do is to do what the people in Venezuela and Iran are trying to get away from. How does that make any sense? Seriously, how did New York say, you know what? We don't want success and prosperity. We want the stuff that these people are trying to escape from. We want what Cuba has. You actually have white people going out there in the street saying we should not have gotten rid of Maduro. I think I got this one piece I want to show you before I start anything. This kind of cracked me up. Have you noticed there was a Saturday Night Live hit segment one time, a long time ago. because Phil Hartman was in it, so it had to be a long time ago. And they were making fun of news reporters who talk this in a extra accent on anything Hispanic. You know, today it's cold outside, but and they talk funny. Listen to this guy as he's trying to tell us, you know, Maduro's not that bad a guy. We shouldn't be looking at Maduro the way he is. Nicolas Maduro. And I'm like, you're in America. You don't have to put the accent on every single Spanish-sounding word. I could do a mean Jamaican here, but I'm not doing that because I'm speaking English. Check this out. I hope you can hear it. Let's see here.
The U.S. is alleging that Maduro, again, is a drug trafficker, among other charges, something that will ultimately be decided by jurors. Here's what we know about the illicit drug trade out of Venezuela. The first drug trafficking accusations came against Nicolas Maduro back in 2020 during the first... Nicolas Maduro. Nicolas Maduro, can you just say it? Do we need to have the accent? Are you my homeroom Spanish teacher in high school? And Nicolas Maduro. No, it's Nicolas Maduro. Just say it. And he does it throughout the entire piece here. It's insane. Absolutely insane. It's this button. I didn't want to hit the wrong button. Here we go back to Trump administration. And at the time, the former Attorney General, Bill Barr, said the Venezuelan government facilitated the transport of up to 250 tons of cocaine annually. Experts believe that most of that cocaine, though, is bound for Europe, not the United States. And also, for context, that total falls far, far short of what we see in many other countries. For instance, according to U.S. data, Guatemala, a much smaller nation.
Guatemala is what he just said. Now, some of you guys are saying that the volume is dropping in and out. Check one, check two. I don't think it's here. All my levels are correct. So, and I'm not seeing any problems. Nope, my microphone's right here. There is no problem with the mic. I'm not sure what exactly the issue might be. Sound keeps fading in and out. I can't tell you. Everything is green. Wait a second. Hold on. Let me try this. Testing 1, 2, 3. Is that better? Testing 1, 2, 3. But I'll let you listen to him while I try to see what's going on here. All right, hold on.
1,400 plus metric tons passed through 2018 alone, which we know did wind up flowing into the United States. Cocaine is obviously dangerous and lethal. It is not, though, the drug causing most overdose deaths in the United States. That dubious distinction belongs, of course, to fentanyl. In 2024, the CDC says that drug killed more than 48,000 people here in the United States, more than half the total number of overdose deaths nationwide.
So what he's saying is that it was only half. I mean, yeah, it's a little bit of cocaine. Don't worry about it. Just a little bit of cocaine. We shouldn't worry about it too much. You're actually saying that. In addition to annoying us with the Nicolas Maduro, dude, just say the news. But the problem is here they are trying to back up that Maduro's not that big of a deal. Only 22,000 people died, if you're to believe his numbers. Only. They're actually going that far into the tank to try and basically say things aren't as bad as it seems. It's mostly yayo.
The U.S. is alleging that Maduro, again, is a drug trafficker, among other charges, something that will ultimately be decided by jurors. Here's what we know about the year. Cocaine accounted for just about 22,000 deaths. And despite claims by the Trump administration that Maduro's capture will impede the flow of fentanyl, the DA's own assessment for 2025 doesn't even list Venezuela as a foreign illicit drug actor. Instead, it cites trafficking from Mexico, China, Colombia, and India as
Colombia. He didn't say the other ones. He didn't say China. He didn't say India. He said Colombia. Hey, dude, chill. In any event, the part he hasn't mentioned is a indictment. He was under an indictment to be charged. I don't care what pretty charts you have. I don't care about your accent. Is there an indictment? Then take it up with the judge who issued the indictment. See, that's the part he didn't even mention. Here, let him finish and see if he says anything about the actual indictment.
Well, fentanyl is almost entirely produced in Mexico using chemicals that come from China, according to U.S. authorities. How all this shakes out in the courtroom, we'll see what evidence the U.S. presents.
None of that will shake out in a courtroom. Can you imagine your attorney walking into a courtroom and saying, we didn't kill as many people as you think? I know you think we killed, and Donald Trump keeps saying, 100,000. We didn't kill that many people. We only killed 22,000. Can you prove that? Then why'd you even bring it up? Do you think a defense attorney is going to go walk into court and say we only killed 22,000? It's not as bad as everybody makes it out to be? I'm pretty sure Maduro's defense attorney would have told you, shut up. You just said we killed 22,000 Americans. We'll see how it shakes out in court. Yeah, I can guarantee you, and I'm not a lawyer, and I didn't sleep at a Holiday Inn last night, but I can damn well guarantee you that tomorrow, or whenever they go to court, they are not going to walk in with your charts and say, we only killed 22,000. If their attorney would be stupid enough to do what you just did, the dude's going to fry. Never mind life in prison. They're going to tie him up, put the things on him. I cannot believe that a American news network would have put that on a screen and then say, well, let's see how they deal with this in court. I'm sure there might be some lawyers here in the chat. You're like, dude, shut up. Shut up. Crazy. Absolutely crazy. Drugs is drugs. If he killed 10 people, if it killed 5 people. Wow, CNN. It's that bad, huh? It's that, like I said, you got nothing. I'm going to show you a whole lot of they got nothing as we move forward here tonight. Before I do that, let me talk to you about my friends at Brightcore. Did you know that U.S. life expectancy peaked at 78 years in 2014, and global life expectancy is declining for the first time in 30 years because people are aging faster than ever before? This is due to more toxins in the air, more toxins in the chemicals that are in our soil and in our food, and other external factors that are new to us. What most people don't know is that we can actually fight aging on a cellular level. There have been actual studies that Brightcore has provided me that you guys can take a look at. And in these studies, scientists have discovered that kimchi actually slows down the aging process of human cells, helping protect them and delay aging at the cellular level. The power of nature can outweigh the power of pharmaceuticals without the nasty side effects. I don't know about you, but I just turned 65 back in August, and I watched my mom and I watched my dad before they passed, and it seems like our generation, or the generation before us, always kept reaching for pills. And I was like, why do we look like we got a pharmacy up in here? Maybe you should stop smoking, and maybe you should stop drinking, and maybe you should stop eating all these fried foods, and maybe behavioral changes. Once you start changing behavior, things can change for you. And now, with kimchi, you can get all the benefits of kimchi in a simple capsule with Kimchi One. Each capsule delivers over 900 probiotic strains, plus antioxidants and enzymes that support your digestion, your metabolism, and your skin health from the inside out. As we age, we become more susceptible to microbial threats. Kimchi One is a natural antimicrobial, helping your body fight off harmful bacteria, viruses, and even toxins while boosting immunity and energy. I work with the guys at Kimchi because doing what I do and following President Trump, I notice the difference because I have to be on. If I was sitting here going, yeah, well, President Trump today, yeah, no, I've got to be on. So best of all, Kimchi One is 100% made in the USA, all natural and non-GMO. Support your gut, protect your cells, and feel younger every day with Kimchi One from Brightcore. And if you'd like to get some Kimchi One, I got a banner here for you. Today, you can get an exclusive offer by clicking the link in the description below, or just use the code Barry for 25% off your entire order. Or for an even better deal, call my friends at Brightcore for up to 50% off your order and free shipping. Give them a call now at 888-418-6738. Be right back. Going to take a pause for the cause.
Welcome back to Fanfare with Barry Cunningham.
It's a drug trade out of Venezuela. The first drug trafficking accusations came against Nicolas Maduro back in...
I'd much rather do live television than do non-live, because when they say, as an example in my speech, peacefully and patriotically to the Capitol, peacefully and patriotically. Do you know that the Unselect Committee didn't report it, that I said those words? Do you know that the news never reported the words walk or march peacefully and patriotically to the Capitol? Do you know they never reported it? It's a scandal. The Unselect Committee never reported that. They never reported that Nancy Pelosi was offered 10,000 soldiers, National Guard soldiers, whatever you want. No, I don't want them. And the mayor. The mayors weren't writing. She was more honorable about it. But Nancy got caught when her daughter did a documentary. She's a documentarist. And she has her mother saying, it's my fault. I should have taken the soldiers or something. I saw that in the documentary. I said, whoa, this was a major story. Has she spoken to her daughter since that, you know? But they just, you know, they are vicious people. I know that everyone here will soon be marching over to the Capitol building to peacefully and patriotically make your voices heard.
I could never have had the idea that a president of the United States would incite an insurrection on the Capitol of the United States, the symbol of democracy throughout the world, on the Constitution of the United States, which he took, and we all took, an oath to uphold.
This was at yet another hearing today commemorating January 6th. The Democrats wanted to make today, as Eric Swalwell said, this is their 9/11. They actually compared planes flying into buildings with people jumping out of buildings, with people dying, getting burned up, getting maimed, with firefighters, families being left destitute, with January 6th. That's how evil these people are. They think this is going to help them. They really have focused so much on it. And poor Nancy is out here, you know, it was awful. It was an insurrection.
On the Congress of the United States, who that day had the congressional responsibility to accept the results, to certify the results of the election. The list goes on and on. And today, that president who incited that insurrection continues to lie about what happened that day.
Now you're caught. You see, you could say that back in 2021 because you were able to make sure that nobody heard the truth. You were able to make sure that courtroom after courtroom after courtroom, at the media, at YouTube, you were able to make sure that nobody heard the truth. Unfortunately for the Dems, you've opened up a can of worms, and you know, I just booted some guy who was talking about mass deportations. You're not paying attention. If I was planning to expose the Democrats and I wanted to find the opportune time to expose them, now would be the opportune time. They just brought it all up again. There are probably a lot of people who forgot what happened. So she decides she's going to, well, not she, all of them went out there and just said all kinds of things about January 6th. Like I said, Eric Swalwell said it was the worst thing since 9/11. All of that was said today, which is going to cause a lot of people to go, I don't really remember all that. Because unless you were a junkie, a news junkie, I mean, how much did you pay attention to what happened afterwards? Probably nothing, because unless you were like me or like Robin or some of us, we didn't see it. People didn't see what happened. All they saw was people getting arrested, getting put in jail, and keys being taken away and just throw them in dungeons. And then you got one story. You had one side of the story being told ever since. They ripped up everything, didn't want you to see anything, didn't allow you to hear anything. And now you just stepped in a bear trap of unbelievable proportions, because now all of that stuff can be brought front and center for everybody to see. Bad move, Nancy. Really bad move.
On my way over here, I saw on TV that he was claiming that we did not ask for the National Guard. I thank Representative Hinziger and as well as Elaine Loria for setting the record straight, and other testimony that you have heard here. For over 3 hours, we begged him to send the National Guard.
You sure about that? Are you? It's amazing. You or I, if we went to one of these hearings and we talk like this, they would put us in jail. They would put us in jail and say you're perjuring yourself. These people can go up there and sit up there with their tissue boxes and say stuff, and everything's fine. Nobody calls them out on their BS. Well, nobody had called them out on their BS. People tried, they shut them up. But Nancy, I don't think she remembers that her sister, daughter, whoever actually filmed her. There's actually film of her saying, I messed up.
He never did it. He took joy in not doing it. It was savoring that. And right now, he was saying on TV today, I wanted to send it. They just wouldn't do it. His own Secretary of Defense, acting Secretary of Defense, testified under oath against what the president is saying.
See, they had it all planned. They had every single aspect of it. You testify and say this. You testify and say that. Okay, let's go ahead and cross-examine. Oh, no. You can't ask him any questions. You have a copy of that deposition? You have a copy of that testimony anywhere, Nancy? Somebody does. And people are going to find out that they were never allowed to do anything. Hey, Mr. So-and-so, I got this thing here, and I'd like you to... Nope, sorry. You can't bring up that question. I can't ask him about this? Nope, can't ask him. All right, so I've got this black pen that you... nope, can't ask about that. Literally, that's what happened. Over and over and over. Don't want to hear it. Sit down. Don't talk about it. That was it. But now he controls all that information.
Today. Maybe not in public, but under oath. God forbid that they ever put this president under oath. His people know never to do that, because who knows what will happen.
As she's saying that, she's not under oath. Just want you to understand, as she just said that, as she just spoke, none of them, nobody on that committee has gone under oath. Not a single one. This is deflection of utmost deflection. Saying he won't go under oath, well, none of you will. Not her, not Jamie Raskin, not Chuck Schumer, none of them. Hakeem Jeffries, nope, none of them have gone under oath. But they're saying he won't. But I think they're going to have to, if January 12th down here is anything, and the grand juries down here in Florida are convening, it may be coming for you.
But what he's saying today, still lying about it, is an insult to the American people. Good thinking people in our country, and I believe in the goodness of the American people. Believing in their goodness is what gives us hope that we can move on from this even stronger.
She's killing me with the hand signals, Nancy. You're hoping that people can move on from it even stronger, but yet you're the ones keep bringing this crap up. We've already moved on. We moved on last November and brought him back. We obviously already moved on. You're the ones dredging all this stuff up again. I wasn't thinking about January 6th. I didn't care. Whatever Trump wants to do, how he wants to handle Liz Cheney and the rest of you, Adam Kinzinger, however he wants to handle you, that's up to him. I didn't bring it up. I've moved on. I voted in November.
His lies that he continues to tell are an insult. The courage of our founders, the beautiful vision they had of this country. And they...
Somebody in the chat just asked me, Barry, is this today or old video? That's today. That was today. They were having, I didn't show it to you because I know you guys would have been like screaming, turn it off. They had hearings and testimony, non-sworn in testimony, all day long, doing everything about January 6th, bringing up all the stories, talking to every single one of them. I was like, I can't do this. I can't sit through these people doing the same thing they did years ago.
A few minutes ago on whitehouse.gov, the official website of the White House and the executive branch of this government, posting an entire timeline in which they are quite explicit in putting blame on Democrats and others for the events that transpired on January 6th and the prosecutions that followed. There are references to the, quote, mass arrests of patriotic protesters. There is a reference to the greatest election theft in U.S. history. Mike Pence's, quote, act of cowardice and sabotage.
This is MSNBC. I don't get it. I've been in marketing quite a long time. And as I'm listening to this guy talk, I'm like, you realize you're promoting their website. You realize as you're trying to talk bad about Trump, you're showing right on the network, you're showing the website that people can go to find out information you won't talk about. You are personifying the Streisand effect. As you're trying to make fun of it, you're showing it, and there's probably a lot of people like, well, you know what? I should take a look at that. I don't remember what happened. I wasn't paying attention. I never heard his side of the story. That's another big one. Who heard his side of the story?
The website goes on to say the Democrats masterfully reversed reality after January 6th, branding peaceful patriotic protesters as insurrectionists and framing the event as a violent coup attempt orchestrated by Trump, despite no evidence of armed rebellion or intent to overthrow the government. My words, to be clear, there were more than a dozen individuals who were charged and convicted for seditious conspiracy.
Notice that's where it turned away from news. He was reporting on the website, and then he decides to interject. Well, you want to know that all these people got arrested and charged. All right, well, since you're talking about that, were they able to mount a good defense? Were they able to bring out more information so that people could see exactly what was going on? Were they just walking around inside the Capitol? Did a guy put his feet up on a desk and have bullhorns on his head? Did he look like a common criminal? They don't want, you made a mistake. You made a mistake.
There's another passage on the website in which it says, quote, it was the Democrats who staged the real insurrection by certifying a fraud-ridden election, ignoring widespread irregularities, and weaponizing federal agencies to hunt down dissenters. Again, that is whitehouse.gov, the official page of the White House, with a new website here on this January 6th.
So he basically is promoting the website. Hopefully people who have their own minds can go look up at some of the stuff that they couldn't see before. Now, Nancy said it wasn't true that President Trump offered the National Guard. That has been the story all along. Unless you've seen this piece, you don't realize where she says, I messed up.
Responsibility, Terry. We did not have any accountability for what was going on there, and we should have. This is ridiculous. You're going to ask me in the middle of the thing when they've already breached the inaugural stuff that should we call the Capitol Police? I mean, the National Guard? Why weren't the National Guard there to begin with?
They thought that they had sufficient resources.
No, there's not a question of how they had, they don't know. They clearly didn't know, and I take responsibility for not having them just prepare for more.
Have you seen that? How many people you think have seen where she's yelling at her daughter or niece or whatever, saying, I am responsible. I am the one who made the call. It was me. And I can't believe that was filmed. I can't believe it wasn't destroyed right after they recorded it. And now she's talking like this because she got her mask on inside of the car. But she just said it. President Trump did say what he said. Go over there peacefully. Be patriotic. Don't be nuts. They left that out. They just had to do a lawsuit with somebody trying to change his words with AI. If it was what it was, you wouldn't have needed the shenanigans. And now you are, here we sit 5 years later, and all this stuff is going to come out. It has to come out. And President Trump is going to make it come out because he's not letting it go. You guys made a big, big miscalculation by making this some sort of huge ceremony today. But I understand why they did, because they don't have anything else. This is their nirvana. I don't mean the band. This was their paradise. We can do all this because last time it worked. We were able to get Mike Pence to say this and this person to say that. And we were still, despite having all that, you couldn't hang on to the White House. So if it didn't work in 2024, because they were trying to do everything they could to throw him in jail, if it didn't work back then, why in the hell do you think it's going to work now? I think it's going to backfire in their faces, as well it should. It definitely should. Let me get this to talk to you about chapter. Look, Medicare is very confusing. As someone who recently turned 65, I can confirm this. You know what was funny? When I was getting my Medicare stuff, people were quoting me for myself, $3,800 a month. I'm like, you high. You absolutely high. And so I can confirm it can get kind of crazy. And that doesn't even include Robin. Keeping track of enrollment periods and understanding all your options and making sure you're on the right plan takes a lot of time and energy if you don't have the right people on your side. And between Medicare scams, corrupt agents, and bloated insurance companies, it's easy to make mistakes that can cost you thousands. That's why I'm happy I got in touch with the people at Chapter. They wanted to work with us here on the show. And I'm like, okay, I'll be the guinea pig. Let me be the first person. Absolutely awesome. They're actually honest, and they're the only Medicare advisor that looks at every plan nationwide, helping most people save an average of $1,100 a year. People are relieved when they actually get to talk to Chapter. I know the phone lines have been very busy. One member, Margaret, was so happy she called Chapter and is saving $105 a month for the same supplemental plan just by switching insurance companies. These guys won't push you to buy a plan you don't want, and their support is completely free. One 20-minute phone call. Free 20-minute phone call. That's it. If you're on the right plan, they'll leave you on the right plan. So if you're turning 65 soon or have questions about your existing Medicare coverage, call them at 475-328-3545 to get the most out of Medicare. And most people, once they talk to them, They wish they had called them sooner. All right, let's continue.
Did you make the decision to end your campaign by yourself, or did you receive pressure from Democratic allies?
This is a decision that I make and make with my family, and certainly I think, as I said, it's the right decision. I'll note, I think it's appropriate we're here today.
We're here today because you scammed billions. Now, here comes another typical deflection. A typical deflection. Whose fault is it? Well, you probably already know.
It's being waged against Minnesota. You're seeing it. We have a ridiculous surge of apparently 2,000 people not coordinating with us that are for a show of the cameras. I'm going to note to all of you, today is January 6th. There's no debate what happened.
Somali fraud to the tune of 19, 20 billion or more has happened in Minnesota. DHS surges and puts 2,000 people, 2,000 agents. They're rounding up fraudsters and they're rounding up newcomers. And what does he talk about? January 6th. There can't be a single person in that room who gives a crap about January 6th. They're there to talk about the Somali fraud and you resigning. January 6th has nothing to do, not resigning, not deciding not to run again. The resigning question is coming too. Has nothing to do with January 6th. Nothing. But that's what he wanted to talk about, meaning he got the memo.
The President of the United States led an insurrection against a fair election to try and overturn that. And
do they not realize the more you say that, the more it makes people think, what are you so worried about? What are you so damn worried about? If you want to call it an insurrection, which is completely a lie, you keep talking about lies. Does anybody you know been charged with inciting an insurrection? Nope, nobody, huh? So how are you calling it an insurrection? They're hoping to use that as a mind ploy against people, but that's not going to work when we're getting 50 million barrels of oil and gas prices are down and people are seeing prosperity and silver's $82 an ounce. And you're talking about January 6th. You got nothing. The whole party, nothing.
Report both sides of this. Well, he said he really didn't, and courts convicted 400 of them, and he pardoned them. No, he did that. He did that, and that's today. And it's clear that we also saw today he implemented 5 states are being punished with a freezing of federal funds illegally.
They always try to change it. 5 states are being frozen. They're not getting their more billions of dollars illegally. Well, if it was illegal, why didn't you sue them? Let's see what a court says. By the way, I'm sorry. I thought I was here to cover your press conference about you getting booted off the campaign. What are we talking about January 6th and what they're doing to come after your Somali fraudsters? What does that have to do with anything? Why did you quit? Are you going to resign? That's what we really want to know.
We're appropriated by Congress, our tax dollars. Their idea of improving this state is being a parrot for Donald Trump, agreeing to everything that he agreed with. Well, here's what I'm going to tell you. It ain't happening. I'm not going anywhere. And you can make all your requests for me to resign over my dead body. Will that happen? I will fight this thing till the very end to make this state better. And the question that I think they need to decide is when did the guy in the White House resign? When does he take accountability for what he did? Because
he said something there. Again, I like to listen to what people say. And it was almost Freudian. I'm going to fight this thing to the very end. And I don't think any of the people in the press looked at that and, well, what are you fighting? You're doing the opposite of fighting. You have decided to not run for governor. What exactly? And nobody asked him. You're going to fight what to the very end? Why would you say, I will fight this to the very end? What are you fighting? You already gave up. Tells me he knows charges are coming. He said it, not me. I will fight this thing to the very end. Well, the end's already been determined. You determined it. I'm not going to run. So there's nothing to fight, right? Right. Did you hear what he said? Here, in case you guys were pouring some coffee or something, listen to him say it one more time so you guys can actually hear it.
Is when did the guy in the White House resign? When does he take accountability for what he did? Because it isn't going to happen here in terms of us shying away from making this. We know that those programs are out there. I don't think that got reported, but there was an analysis done on the states across the country, unemployment insurance. I think Iowa and Minnesota were 1 and 2 and the most secure. So there's a lot of safeguards in place. And
what about the safeguard? He's talking about this new program where you can get like 5 months of leave and everybody gets paid for doing nothing. Were there safeguards on the daycare centers? Were there safeguards on the autistic centers? Were there safeguards on the transportation companies? But now you think the safeguards are going to work. Well, obviously the safeguards don't work. That's why you're getting out of office. By the way, I didn't rewind it back far enough, but you heard what he said. I'm going to fight this to the very end. What exactly are you going to be fighting?
We'll continue to deliver that. And I said, I told you yesterday, and I'll continue to say it. I will be there to make sure. Tim O'Malley and our team over there on program integrity, BCA, we have more tools that will continue to do this. The buck stops with me on this.
But the buck didn't stop with you. That's the whole problem. Billions and billions of dollars got stolen by these pirates from a country that has an average IQ of about 75. So how did they learn how to game the system in your state, in your city, in the capital? No wonder he's looking kind of skittish. And then they go right back to blaming Donald Trump. Donald Trump didn't bring those Somalis into Minneapolis. Donald Trump didn't show them how to open daycare centers. Donald Trump didn't show them how to get CDL licenses and how to truck it. There's like 1,000 daycare centers. No kids. And Minnesota is starting to come in for the kill.
Fraud was happening in Minnesota. Either way, it is a failure of the top leader of our state. The best step that Governor Walz made was yesterday announcing that he wasn't going to be seeking the third term. It was a little bit surprising when he had announced that he was going to seek a third term back in September, but at least he's admitted that he's not been good for the state and he should no longer continue. Yeah. The important thing to recognize, though, is whoever they put in to run for governor in the state of Minnesota, any Democrat has completely supported what Governor Walz has done, and it would be more of the same. That's why we need a change.
So what are they going to do? What we know what Trump's team is going to do. The Democrats, as I'm showing you, when I keep saying they have nothing, what's your defense here? Have you heard anybody articulate a defense? Has anyone said, we might have made some mistakes, this may have happened, and we didn't check this form, and Keith Ellison, we have that recording of him trying to help out the fraudsters. What are you going to do? What are the people in Minnesota going to do? If I was a Democrat and I had any idea of doing something long-term, I'd stay completely away from this race. I don't want nothing to do with the governor's office of Minnesota. The stank going to be all over you. And then you still haven't answered, what are you going to do but all these pirates? And now you've got 2,000 agents running around. You got Kristi Noem in there. They're knocking on all kinds of doors. How long will it be till one of these people gives you up? They don't want to go back to Somalia. They don't want to go back to chasing lions and stuff. Some of them are going to talk and they're going to give everybody up. And then all hell's going to break loose. Now that they see people coming in with handcuffs and rifles and everything else, what are you going to do? They're going to talk like canaries. I can't wait. I can't wait till they start putting some of these Somalis in cuffs and taking them out and pulling them out of these houses, and they start interrogating them. Lips are going to flap. There is no way all of these people want to go to jail. Ain't going to happen.
Surprise you what's happening with Tim Walz?
Unfortunately, it doesn't. The scale of the fraud that the Trump administration, with the help of great independent journalists like Nick Shirley, is uncovering right now is surely shocking. But President Trump has been calling out Tim Walz for his incompetence and corrupt leadership for a very long time. And Trump was right about everything. This is another example of that, which is why Governor Walz is dropping out of the race for re-election today. This is a man who can no longer even win the support of the voters within his home state because his policies have failed them. And now the great people of Minnesota, a state that was once known as the land of 10,000 lakes, has been turned into the land of 10,000 Somali schemes because of their governor.
I don't know how long it took her to weave that one together. The land of 10,000 lakes has become the land of 10,000 schemes. Beautiful, beautiful, beautiful. Great visual right there. I now see Land of Lakes with a different logo with Somali guys sitting there instead of the Indian girl with the they're so toast.
And don't forget, this is a guy who was at the top of the Democrat Party's ticket, the number 2. He was Kamala Harris's running mate just about a year ago until President Trump crushed them last November. And it was in large part because the president was calling out this fraud. And so this has been a day one priority for the Trump administration, Jesse. The Department of Justice has convicted and prosecuted nearly 100 defendants in Minnesota. And because of these new details and this new reporting that has come to light, this is a all hands on deck across the entire government effort. We are surging resources. You saw today the Department of Homeland Security announced we have nearly 2,000 agents from the Homeland Security Investigations Team. The FBI is on the ground, and we're freezing money. HHS cut off funding for child care centers and for daycares. USDA Secretary Rollins has been asking Governor Walz to see the recipients of SNAP in his state. So this is all hands on deck, rest assured. It's a top priority for President Trump, and he believes that Governor Walz is criminally liable.
Ooh. See, I could see the Somali people. I can see the pirates giving up some people. Tim Walz is in a rock and a hard place. He gives up people. His family could disappear. The amount of money we're talking about is disappearing type money. And whoever he was kicking up to, Obama, whoever he was listening to and was pulling his strings, he knows he can't give them up. He would have to go into double secret witness protection. No wonder he looks freaked out, because if Caroline Leavitt is saying that Trump has got him in the crosshairs at this point, there is nothing. At this point, they already have everything. We have it all. They already have everything. They gave you the money. You squandered the money. Now they can trace the money. It's not going to be very hard to put Tim Walz in handcuffs. It's just a matter of, is he going to go down with the ship, or is he going to give somebody up bigger? I don't know. Will he have time to? We're getting to a point in this game here where there's a lot of furniture being moved around, a lot of things happening, and the Democrats have shown no capacity or ability to do anything in response, except for violence. But there's no moves. Can you imagine playing chess or checkers with somebody, and once you get them to that point and you just sit back and there's no move? If you move that guy, I'm taking it. You move that guy, I'm taking it. You're done. You have no moves to be made on the board. Right now in Minnesota, he doesn't have any moves to be made. His first one was I won't run for re-election. Not good enough. It doesn't end there. That's just a start. You're not going to be governor in November. Well, over my dead body, I'm going to fight this to the end. Okay, now we know that you're going to be charged with something because you're willing to fight it to the end, because you have no choice but to fight it to the end. It's either that or give somebody up. And so now he has to realize that more than likely, whatever intelligence that they had in Minneapolis and whatever they found out, it's too late to move anything. Wherever the money was, they already know. Whoever was involved, I mean, just imagine you're walking around with a cell phone and you're like, I can't dial any numbers. I don't know who's listening. I mean, most people worry about who's listening when they're not under surveillance. Can you imagine him right now? I can't call anybody. And most of the other people are like, don't call me. Don't call me. Do not call me. But they got the call logs probably. They've already pulled that stuff. This guy's a sitting duck. And SV texted me, it's kind of funny. Yeah, Ilhan Omar's been quiet lately, hadn't she? Maybe she's already lawyered up. If she was smart, she'd lawyer up, but it ain't gonna help her. These people are in big trouble. And to me, I don't understand how they didn't think eventually they would be found out.
I think the Department of Justice is going to find out.
Well, they should, because it's too much money to lose. You can't say, oh, oops, I don't know where it went, especially when all of those whistleblowers going crazy and the AG there, Ellison, acting like he was running PR for these Somalians.
See, that's the problem. An organization, a criminal organization of this magnitude, has too many missing pieces. There are too many people who had, were dipped into this that were pulling money out. The mayor of Minneapolis, all these Somalians. It's the easiest thing to go after because we know none of these people had any experience. It's not like they owned daycare centers in Somalia. How did they learn where to even apply? These applications are going to be brought up. We're going to see who applied to have a daycare center at 123 Main Street. How'd you get the building? How'd you get the lease? How'd you put the money down? How did you get, all of this stuff? It's all cash that can be traced. And so when you've got so many people who are going to be dangling, it's only going to take a few to start going, and then they're done. It's going to collapse like a big, huge house of cards. This is going to be pretty easy to prosecute because there's too many moving parts. And that wink link is going to do somebody in.
Down in Venezuela, there's a lot of action. And the country is thrilled with the precise, flawless military execution overseen by the commander-in-chief and the team. What comes next?
Well, first of all, I have to give incredible credit to President Trump, Secretary Hegseth, Secretary Rubio, our Vice President, J.D. Vance, the entire team across the board. This is undoubtedly one of the greatest foreign policy and military achievements the United States of America has ever seen. And as Joe Biden used to falsely say, we can now truly say America is back, thanks to the courage of President Trump, thanks to the leadership of his amazing cabinet, and thanks, of course, to our brave men and women in the United States military. So now this exact same team of foreign policy leaders who have been running President Trump's Venezuela foreign policy this entire time will continue to do that. We have a lot of leverage over the remaining Maduro government right now. I know Secretary Rubio is in constant correspondence with them. We're going to make sure this country aligns with the interests of the United States of America.
So many moving parts, so many illiterate people, so much money being put in suitcases, just so many different things that these people are just looking at one big bear trap after the other. She was talking about President Trump. Let me bring you up to speed on something as well. I just showed you that Venezuela is shipping 50 million barrels of oil out of Venezuela to the United States. But they ain't going anywhere else because it says Reuters, Venezuela has stopped oil shipments to China since Nicolas Maduro's removal. Nicolas Maduro, while it is doing U.S. oil shipments through Chevron. Before the crisis, Venezuela sold on average 700,000 barrels a day to China. So we're taking all that those barrels of oil that were supposedly designated for China, they're no longer getting it. That's another big win. as Glenn Beck said yesterday, that and I didn't pick up on, but that is huge. He's tightening the noose on China. And now they announced that they are not going to be able to ship oil to China. You'll love this one. CBS, not a friend of Trump. Forecasters predict 2026 will be the cheapest year for gas since COVID. The average price of gas in the United States this year is expected to dip to $2.97 per gallon. That's the average price. That includes California, New York, all these places where they're putting all kinds of taxes on top of the gas prices just to try and hurt their own people. In addition, this happened today. Venezuela's stock market went up 50% in a single day. 50%. Their stock market, look at the graph. I love how somebody put this together. This is when the United States started moving assets towards Venezuela. It got a little bump, and then Maduro was captured, and it looks like straight up. People realize and have been waiting for the opportunity to go into Venezuela and do some business. You know, the Democrats have always tried to make it sound like things should be anti-business. We shouldn't be talking about prosperity. We shouldn't be talking about making more money. You see it now. You see what's getting ready to happen. I showed you silver. I showed you gold. It's exploding. And they got nothing but talking about January 6th. Are you kidding me?
I think the reality is that for centuries we've really treated property as an individualized good and not a collective good, and we are going to transitioning to treating it as a collective good and towards a model of shared equity will require that we think about it differently, and it will mean that families, especially white families, but some POC families who are homeowners as well.
The rest of the world is trying to get away from this crap. In New York, you're about to get a big old steaming heaping pile of it. A heaping pile of communism and anti-white governing. That ain't going to go well. The New York Post put out, says Zoran Mandami's new New York City tenant advocate. She's called to seize property and blasted home ownership as white supremacy. Having been involved in real estate for quite some time, I can tell you this woman is bat poop crazy, even from communist perspective. And this guy doesn't seem like, and I'm talking about this guy being Mandami, doesn't seem like he knows anything in regards to how to actually run something. You're bringing these nuts into New York City. It ain't going to happen. You'll get sued. Listen to some of the stuff she said.
Are going to have a different relationship to property than the one that we currently have.
At $5 billion, we hope to be able to set up and staff the agency, but also build new housing across the state, as well as acquire distressed housing.
We're hoping to build houses across the state. He does realize he's just the mayor of New York City, right? He does realize that he doesn't control any other aspect of New York, right? Even with the tickets to soccer games, he's just the mayor of New York. What are these people talking about? And then she says, and I found it very interesting because it made my ears perk up because I've been doing it for so long, and we'll buy some distressed property. Oh, so you want to be somewhat capitalistic. You want to buy distressed property at a discount for whatever purpose. You know, you're not going to put people in there for free, but you want to spend taxpayer dollars to buy property at a discount. Good luck with that.
Across the state. The mechanisms for acquiring distressed housing could look different on a building by building basis. In some cases, what happens is tenants form a tenant association, they have a scofflaw landlord or someone who's not making repairs, and they could pressure, using organizing tactics, they could pressure to...
Oh, using organizing tactics. You're not going to go the legal right and try to do code violations. You're not going to try and bring, all kinds of actions against them. No, we're not going to do that. We're just going to try and ruin people's lives. We're going to go out and, protest in front of him. We're going to use actions, social actions. Yeah, that's a great way to govern. How do you think the rest of the citizens of the area are going to what's going on? Our mayor is protesting private individuals now? Is that where you're headed?
This social housing development authority to take over their homes, to buy their homes. In other cases, you might happen through a legal process. A couple of days ago, one of the most notorious slumlords in the city, his name is Ob Shalom. He was arrested because he is treating his tenants so badly, hundreds of thousands of open code violations.
Hundreds of thousands of code violations. Why are you always lying? Why are you always lying? Ain't nobody got hundreds and thousands of code violations. If you got hundreds and thousands of code violations, your first order of business needs to fire your code inspectors. You need to fire whatever magistrates are working on code enforcement. There's your problem if somebody's got hundreds and thousands of code violations. So either you're lying or you got a bunch of inept people working. No other option there.
Cases like that, where the city is actively pursuing already sort of litigation and enforcement mechanisms against the landlord, the SHDA is an option. We can say, hey, you are not maintaining this building, and we are the city of New York. We have an interest in making sure that housing is well maintained, and we're going to take this building away from you.
I don't know where these people come from. I feel like buying some property up in New York just so I can entertain myself. So show me what you're going to do. Oh, we're going to take this from you. Oh, really? You're really just going to take my building, my home. I'm not white. Robin is. But you're just going to take it. How exactly are you going to do that? Under what pretense, what legal authority are you going to have to just, quote, take their properties? I mean, this woman probably has never even owned a property. They had a nice idealistic life in college where they were taught stupid stuff that will just take their property. You end up getting shot. Yeah, how can you even let that come out of your mouth? We'll just take it.
Would you need a host of like a new suite of regulations?
Democratically controlled public housing is really important, and that's why when Raquel was talking about the communities and that she's describing, that's a created community where the people who are living there are setting the agenda, and so people like home ownership because they like control, and that's been perverted by deep racism and deep classism in our society. So we have to not have a racist and classist society, and so that's something we need to think about deeply.
No, you're smiling. No, you don't have to think about it. It ain't happening. You're not taking people's homes away from them just because you want to or because they're white. I don't know where they got this ideology from. I don't even know if they teach it in communist universities or whatever, but it's absolutely insane. Beyond insane that this guy is now running the biggest city in our country, and he has chosen her to oversee parts of the real estate in New York City. What the hell did you people in New York do? I can't even imagine what you've done here.
But, it's about control, and why rent control is really important is because rent control alters the power dynamic between renters and who owns the building.
And
just because you're white doesn't mean you have fewer rights in this country. We all have equal rights in our country.
Aren't they? It makes me scratch my head. Isn't that specifically what they've been saying? Oh, we're about equal rights. We want to have equal rights. We want to make sure people are protected. Except if you're white, all of a sudden you no longer have the ability to do what everybody else can simply because you're white. I've never seen a law to that extent. I've never seen anybody tell me those people over there, they can't own property. Why? They're white, Barry. Oh, I didn't know that. Is there a statute that says that? Or are you just making it up? They've been training for this day for some time. This woman has made a few absolute crazy, insane posts where she's like, we should just take it from them. And thankfully, Harmeet's on it.
And we will not stand for New York City violating any federal law whatsoever. They should be on notice. They are on high scrutiny. And we will swoop right in and do what's necessary to protect all citizens and taxpayers and residents of New York where they're legally.
I think he's just winging it. I think he's got a nice smile. They thought they could package him. They thought they could put the teleprompter up and he could read the speeches and do what he wants. And now he's there. And they don't know what to do. Maybe that's why Trump invited him to the White House and kind of laughed it off, because he probably spent an hour with him and said, hey, so tell me about some of your plans. Oh, you don't have any clue what you're about to get into. I give this guy less than 12 months. Having lived in New England and spent so much time in New York, this guy's going to get run out on a rail. And the people he's got surrounding him, they're going to be right out there too. I mean, it's insane that we're talking about a couple weeks since he's been put on the, been inaugurated, maybe, a couple weeks. No, 1 week. And it's already people shaking their head going, you can't do that, can't do that, can't do that. You can't raise taxes. You can't kick white people out of homes. None of that. None of the stuff that he has said can he do. What a rude awakening. An absolute rude awakening. Oh boy, oh boy, oh boy. Eric Doherty just dropped something about, hold on, let me bring this in. This just dropped. Oh my gosh. This is a big story as I'm looking at it. Let me bring this in here real quick. Wow, 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 wow. So let me set this up for you before I bring it in. All right. So, where is it here? Wait 1 second. Here it is right here. Wow, wow, wow. Breaking bombshell. Minnesota auditor report just dropped. And this was at what time? This was at 8:06, so just recently. It confirms Tim Walz's Department of Human Services fabricated records and did not verify grant recipients. They tried covering their tracks, enabling the massive fraud. It just got 10,000 times worse for 10,000. Walz must resign. Perhaps the most explosive revelation is that managers within DHS tried to cover their tracks by backdating and creating new documents. That in itself is a crime. These people are going to get buried under this. They're going to get buried under the bridge at this point. This is insane. One outrageous sent millions of dollars out the door in grants without making proper checks into who was even receiving them. And that's not even the most jaw-dropping finding. One outrageous example, the auditors found a grantee that was paid $672,000 for 1 month of work without any information. I mean, think of that. $672,000 went out the door. And the audit says the grant manager who paid it then left DHS a couple days later and became a paid consultant for the company that they gave $600,000 to. To me, that's criminal. Wow, this is bad. Let's take a listen.
Against fraud. The performance audit shows the Behavioral Health Administration sent millions of dollars out the door in grants without making proper checks into who was receiving them. And that is not even the most jaw-dropping finding. Lou Raguse has tonight's top story. Lou?
Julie, according to the nonpartisan legislative auditor, this is another case of mismanagement of taxpayer money. But perhaps the most explosive revelation is that managers within DHS, the Department of Human Services, tried to cover their tracks by backdating and creating new documents.
But I do want to talk about what a serious issue this is and how it is, frankly, unacceptable.
Another sobering report by the Office of the Legislative Auditor, this one concerning the Behavioral Health Administration within the Department of Human Services, which issues grants to providers treating mental health and drug and alcohol addiction, hundreds of millions of dollars each year. The audit found them issuing grants to applicants without a bidding process.
So what we saw is that there was multiple entities that could have been eligible, and they chose not to provide a justification for why they were picking those.
This report is quite stunning.
One outrageous example, the auditors found a grantee that was paid $672,000 for 1 month of work without any info on what they do. And the audit says the grant manager who paid it then left DHS a couple days later and became a paid consultant for that company.
To me, that's criminal.
Auditor Judy Randall says she was most shocked that during the audit, multiple DHS managers backdated or created new documents to try to cover their tracks.
All right, so you're seeing how big this fraud reaches at this point. You're seeing how many tentacles that they're going to have to go into. It's amazing that they're just now looking. Now they're just looking and peeling back the onion layers and finding out they didn't even try to hide it. This is going to be epic, and it's probably small in comparison to what we're going to find out in California.
In the 27 plus years I've been with OLA, I have never seen this before. I will say we have had suspicions periodically, but we have never been able to prove it, to document it. And we did in this case. And it's very troubling.
Temporary DHS Commissioner Shireen Gandhi's response.
I was shocked to hear this information in the exit conference.
You all have to go. All of you have to go. Now I'm shocked. Shocked, I tell you. No, you should have been shocked years ago. Now, what you're seeing, in my estimation, what you are seeing right now, you're seeing a bunch of people who realize they may get caught up in this stuff. So now they better start squealing, releasing reports, releasing information that make other people look bad. You're shocked? You're shocked today? January 6th? Where were you when the woman got $670,000 with no information? How could you be shocked today? This is insane.
And it is absolutely unacceptable that any staff would provide anything other than accurate representation of the work done to an auditor.
Now, there were a lot of questions from lawmakers about whether this audit should result in criminal investigations. So we'll see what comes from that. The Office of the Legislative Auditor provides recommendations both to the department and to lawmakers in case law changes are needed. Just one more time of what the auditor said regarding this fabrication of documents. She called it a systemic problem.
You smell that? Something doesn't smell right. If it's systemic, it means it's been going on for quite some time. It means the entire organization is effed. You people have been playing, I don't know what you've been doing. If it's systemic now, it was systemic 6 months ago. It was systemic a year ago. Now you've got rats jumping off this Minneapolis sinking ship, the Waltz Titanic, and everybody's pointing, oh, it's systemic. I'm shocked. I'm shocked, I tell you. I cannot believe this. I cannot believe this kind of stuff has been happening. And the feds haven't even got there yet. These are people pulling up trial balloons to try and stop themselves from going under with the ship. There is no way we don't see all kinds of people turning state's evidence and trying everything they can do to keep their butts out of jail. Those women who were talking, they don't look like jail cellmates. They look too cushy. I'm shocked. I'm absolutely shocked. I can't tell you how shocked I am. The Democrats have nothing. Absolutely nothing. And it just keeps. Ashley texted me. She was at my grandson's basketball game, and she's like, "Go away for an hour and a half. I come back, and news is just going crazy, absolutely crazy." We're just talking about this woman. We literally was just covering this woman. You know, the one who's in New York who says it's white supremacy to own a property. We need to take homes for white people. Except my mom. The mom of Mandami's aide, who said owning a house is a weapon of white supremacy, has a $1.6 million house in Tennessee. The Office of Tenant Protection, Sia Weaver, thinks New York City should be able to seize private property. She also bizarrely claimed the private property, including any kind of, especially home ownership, is a weapon of white supremacy. According to Weaver's logic, her mom, Celia Applegate, is fueling white supremacy, considering she has a $1.6 million home in Nashville. Of course, she's a little rich, you know what. The house was purchased by Applegate and her partner. Oh, and her partner for over $800,000 in 2012. So here's some boomer white supremacy stuff here. They bought the house for $800,000 in 2012. It is now worth 1.6. And here's the picture of the house. There's all kinds of equity there. But that's okay because it's my mom and her partner. As long as it's my mom and her partner, that's different. It's not the same kind of white supremacy. She's LGBTQISSIPPI. That's different. It's a different class of whiteness. White gays are okay. They get to keep their property. They get to make equity. They get a 50% turn on their investment. Communism for thee, not for me. And you know what the worst part about this is? Do these people not think people are going to look? Do they not understand that, and I guess this came from the New York Post, that people aren't going to begin digging? What can we see about this woman who wants to call everybody who owns property white supremacy so we can take their property, but just not my mom and her partner's house? I just stumble upon this stuff. This wasn't even part of the show. The news just keeps happening. I mean, literally, I could come on here and do nothing but, scroll through and just see what else is going on, and it just keeps coming up. It's crazy. It's absolutely crazy. Oh, here's one for you. What in the hell is going on? These people lost their mind. This man he's on a horse, riding a horse through a Target. Good. Oh, the world has gone absolutely bat poop crazy. Well, let me pause here and take some of your comments. I need a second here. I need a blow. Midas, lay down. Oh, yeah. Nelson says the real question no one is asking is how much is their salary and why aren't they donating it to the people? Good point. I am curious about the Trump Tower in New York. I wonder if he's going to sell it or keep it, another property that President Trump has. Trump Tower are condominiums. The people own them. It's his building, but all the condo owners own their condos. So I don't know what they're talking about there. Taking people out of their homes is what they do in Cuba. Yep, you're absolutely right. You're absolutely right. Somebody says they never thought Trump would win. Nope, obviously. People are getting away with everything. Absolutely. Who's cleaning up the horse poop? Clean up on aisle 5 and bring a shovel. Go into the landscaping department and pick up a shovel. You don't need it. And a hose. Damn, you can't make this up. No, we can't. Oh my goodness gracious. Let's continue.
Hello, I'm HHS Deputy Secretary Jim O'Neill.
And I'm Alex Adams, HHS Assistant Secretary for the Administration for Children and Families.
For the past 2 weeks, everyone's been asking questions about the political patronage system in Minnesota. Incompetent state officials, through negligence or by design, for years have stood by as taxpayer money was diverted into the pockets of politically connected cronies. State officials have been unwilling to provide definitive confirmation about the size and scope of fraud. This much is clear. Governor Walz's administration is taking away money from working families and giving it to fake daycare scams. Raising a young family is a blessing, and it's okay to need help. Many families struggle to find affordable childcare and rely upon state and federal assistance. Unfortunately, Governor Walz has allowed resources to be wasted on wide-scale fraud, diverting those resources away from the families who rely upon them to make ends meet.
These are not victimless crimes. Every dollar stolen is a dollar stolen from children and families who need those services the most. But fraud does not happen in a vacuum. The policies set in Washington influence how states administer these programs, and those policies can either prevent fraud or invite it.
Unfortunately, the Biden-Harris administration adopted rules for the Child Care and Development Fund that created serious vulnerabilities. Those policies weakened accountability and made fraud easier, not harder. That's why today we released a proposed rule to repeal those Biden-era mandates.
Okay, so now they're digging in and they're finding out this child care stuff and all the SNAP things. They put it together to make it easier for people to steal. They facilitated the theft. They facilitated the fraud. They didn't want anybody checking anything. Don't verify. It's the same stuff like Wally the Nigerian from USAID. It seems that the modus operandi for the Biden administration was to tell people, just let people apply, don't verify anything, and then just pay them. I'm just wondering why I didn't get one of the memos. Why didn't I get the memo? Barry, fill out this form. Nobody's even going to check, and we'll send you money. They didn't tell you either. I'm feeling left out that they create, and I'm black, and they created all these loopholes where people could just take money, and we're not even going to check.
The proposed rule does three important things. First, it ends the requirement that taxpayer dollars must pay for childcare before services are provided. States will no longer be forced to send payments to providers up front. Second,
Wait. So they were paying people up front before they even provided the service. I wonder how many people got daycare money that didn't have kids. Since they're not verifying anything, how would we know?
Ends the mandate for enrollment-based billing. Payments can once again be based on verified attendance, not just enrollment, so that providers can't bill for children who never show up. And third, it ends the mandate to pre-fund guaranteed seats at child care centers without competition. This restores parental choice and brings back market incentives that reward legitimate, high-quality providers.
No wonder they don't want a businessman in charge. No wonder they were so terrified of a businessman being president. When you have this kind of stuff, the Biden administration evidently, you don't have to say evidently, they didn't require child care centers to verify that kids were actually enrolled before forking over the money. A policy Trump's Department of Health and Human Services is reversing, as you're hearing right now. Biden administration gave child care centers billions of dollars without even verifying attendance, that kids were even there. Make it stop. Make it stop. They've been stealing your money, giving it to who knows, and there was no verification. And I didn't get a single memo. I didn't know I could have opened a daycare center. I would have even paid the rent myself. I didn't need the kids, obviously. Do I need kids to sign up? Nope, no kids need to sign up. I could use like Midas and Lily as props. Here's Midas and Lily Daycare. I would at least spell the names right on the sign. And then you just pay me $10, $20, $30, $40, $50,000 a month. And Robin and I will be down in the Caymans. Says we don't need kids and nobody's going to come and check. Nobody is going to come and check. Just take the money, tell us you have a daycare center, but don't actually, you don't need to actually follow through. And because we're not going to check, no one's ever going to call you a fraud because nobody's going to know what's actually happening there. Until this guy Trump got elected. And this guy Trump just ruined the whole thing for everybody. Everybody got free money. We didn't even have to verify that there were actually kids there. And yet they want to tax people who has $600 a month or transaction in Venmo. They want to tax everything you got. They want to throw you out your house if you're white. But if you're got a daycare center, they're not even going to check to see if you have kids there. And obviously, they didn't check to see if you can spell learning.
Taken together, these changes ensure that payments reflect real services and real attendance, making it far harder for fraudulent or non-operational centers to game the system. Across welfare programs, Biden administration policies effectively backed up a Brinks truck and sent the security home.
I did not expect that to come out of those guys. Those two guys looking like Penn and Teller, they just backed up the Brinks truck and sent the security home. Wow. I need to get a t-shirt. Brinks truck driver. And just walk into a bank and tell the guards and turn off the cameras and leave. And you guys just fill up these bags with money. And that's it. I'm just here to make a withdrawal. Because that's what they were doing. And we can chuckle right now, but at the same time, this has got to make you just so pissed off. You can't even imagine at this point that you would even have to pay on April 15th. If you don't, they're going to come after you. If you don't, they'll try and throw you in jail, even if you owe like $2,000 or $3,000. But it's okay if Wally the Nigerian just goes ahead and sends out millions. What was the last one? 672,000. And then go to work for the company that you got to.
In childcare, that ends today.
I wish it had ended years ago, but who knows? What is that number going to be? How much will it actually be? I don't know. A lot of people have suffered because of all this fraud. You got that right. Manuel Estrada said the dam is collapsing. Is it too late to open up a Learing Center in Virginia? Yeah, I think they got you. I think you can't do it anymore. What'd she say? I want to cry. How many of our veterans could those funds have housed and helped? Yeah, exactly. President said over and over again, this is not another for a year election. This is for the chance to save our country. My poor grandpa went to the grave owing. This is too much. If we don't laugh, we would be cursing probably yet and throwing stuff at the screen. It's just so bad. A fraud will teach you how to be a fraud. Yeah. Lisa says, no chuckling here. I'm mad as hell. Yeah, I believe that. Yes. Confiscate their houses, their cars, and bank accounts. Yes. I completely concur with that. Unreal. Let's keep going.
So you probably saw some Democrats, including the new mayor of New York, Zoran Mamdani, literally declare that what Trump did on Saturday morning was illegal. What do you think of that?
Again, if people don't live through it, they won't know how desperate us Venezuelans are for a change. I know they're talking about Trump only wanting the oil, but everybody's there for the oil. Russia, Iran, everybody's there for the oil already. China. So if Trump needs the oil.
From this young woman who's not even involved in business. Everybody keeps saying that President Trump's just doing it for the oil. And she just said it. Well, China's doing the same thing. And they're not even trying to help us. Russia, doing the same thing. Iran, they're all taking us. They're all, I won't use the word because I'm on YouTube, but, ARPing us. They're all ARPing us. They're doing whatever they can to enrich themselves and Nicolas Maduro. And so you're worried about Trump taking oil when the other people have already been taking it.
To give us freedom, then that's a price we're willing to pay just so that we have our freedom and make a change. In 26 years, nobody has done anything for our country except for Trump. So if that's a price that he's the only one that has made an action on it, and he's the only one that has delivered his promise. So if that's the price we need to pay for it, then that's okay. Venezuela has a lot of other resources. It's not just oil. We have minerals. We have so many other things that once our country is better, then we, as Maria Corina always say, we will be an amazing country. We just need that change and somebody to help us for it.
We don't care about the oil, that if Trump is going to get it, we don't care about that. We don't care because Russia and Cuba has been taking it anyway. All we care is that we have hope again. More people are not going to die. The students has hope again, and that's what we care. My grandmother, she passed away last year because she didn't have enough medicine to survive. We didn't have food enough. If you think and you're supporting that they didn't came the right way and it was illegal, you can go to Venezuela and then you can spend like 10 days there and see how it feels you have to eat food from the trash. You have to.
The media won't show these people. The media just keeps pretending like all the videos from everybody is just AI. There's nobody really suffering there. You have to ask yourself, why are they so intent on showing that Trump is wrong instead of Maduro is wrong? Because they hate America. They don't want prosperity, I keep telling you. They don't want to see people, whether it's here or Venezuela, get into a different lifestyle where they become self-sufficient and they don't need the government, where they don't have to eat out of the garbage can.
You have no gas. You have to wait 2 weeks to get a half tank of the gas. You have no meat, you have no chicken, you have nothing to eat, nothing. Just have empathy and be happy for Venezuela and all the people that you know from Venezuela, because now we have hope again, and we're so happy that this is happening. Little by little, obviously we know that it's not going to happen right away, but now it's one step.
Yeah, Boris, and administration officials were trying to make clear to lawmakers yesterday, we're told in that 2-hour-long briefing, that these injuries that were sustained by Maduro and his wife Celia Flores, they were not inflicted by U.S. forces. Rather, they happened because Maduro and his wife were trying to escape U.S. forces, and when they were trying to hide behind this massive steel door inside their compound, which has been alluded to multiple times by President Trump, they actually hit their heads on that door frame as they were trying to enter that.
CNN is running a story that Maduro and his wife may have been injured as they were being hauled away. I've watched episodes of Cops. It was one of the most favorite shows for me to watch. It used to be on Saturday evenings. And I would watch as they would tackle people who were trying to get away, or people who were hiding, dragging them from underneath a crawl space or something. The guy bangs his head. When you resist, stuff happens. And again, they're trying to paint it as though our special forces guys, they're big meanies. They hurt Mrs. Maduro and Nicolas Maduro. They hurt them.
Secure area. And at that point, they weren't able to escape. U.S. forces were, of course, able to detain them. And when they brought them back onto the helicopter, according to what these briefers told lawmakers yesterday, Delta Force operators began to render first aid. Now, it's unclear, of course, whether that explains the alleged fractured rib that Celia Flores' attorney has said.
These people are the worst. They hate your country. This is a story on a major news network, however small their viewership is, but still, they are doing a highlight story on the fact that we did a military arrest, a military seizure, and we under gunfire, and we had to get in and get out, and they may have gotten hurt. The people who, by their own admission, kill 22,000 people a year. Their own admission. And they're telling us right now we should feel bad because, I don't know, they had a broken rib. At least they didn't get shoved into the ocean like Osama did by Obama.
That she suffered, but she did appear in court yesterday with numerous bandages on her forehead, according to court sketches of the hearing yesterday. And Maduro, of course, he also had trouble kind of standing up and sitting down. So, you know, all of this kind of adds to the color surrounding the operation and the fact.
To who? Do any of you right now, before you go to bed, after you get out of here, are you going to say to yourself, oh, I can't sleep? What's wrong, honey? I keep thinking that Maduro and his wife got roughed up. And I don't know if I'm going to be able to sleep tonight. I don't know what I'm going to do. She may have broken a rib. He was bent over. This is what they want you to feel? Empathy?
That it was much more chaotic than I think people originally assumed, especially because when U.S. forces arrived at that compound, they were actually encountered by a Cuban quick reaction force, which was nearby, made up of about over 24 Cuban security operatives, according to what the briefers again told lawmakers yesterday. There erupted a huge firefight at that point, a gun battle, and many, if not all, of those Cuban forces were killed in the aftermath of that. And so there was significant gunfire exchange. There were Delta Force operators, as we know, who sustained bullet wounds, shrapnel wounds, but they are expected to make a full recovery, and they are receiving treatment now back in the U.S., Boris.
She's doing a play-by-play of a military extraction surrounded by gunfire, helicopters, planes, drones, people shooting, blowing stuff up. And, a couple of them got killed and they have a broken rib. Who the F cares? I think most people would probably have preferred if you came back and brought them like in a body bag. Nobody would have cared. Wow.
There's no requirement for advance notification, number one. Number two, this was a DOJ operation in that this was essentially serving a warrant issued by a federal judge to go and take Maduro and his wife into custody pursuant to a grand jury indictment. This was not necessarily, there was no advance notice requirement for Congress. There was notification after the fact, which, according to the Constitution, only requires 45 days, or the War Powers Act only requires 45 days notice within the window of taking that action. So, look, if I'm conducting an operation of this nature, whether it's a DOJ operation or a Department of War operation, if I'm responsible for the success of that mission, I want to limit the universe of people who know about it for OPSEC, operational security purposes. So we want to make sure that the OPSEC is tight and that very few people know about it so that we have a higher degree of success rate. And that was what was taking place here. It's not as though that the president is trying to keep Congress in the dark.
No, he is. You can be honest. I can't trust these people. I would have just said that directly to Martha, operational security, because we can't trust people in Congress. We cannot trust that they wouldn't have been on the phone telling Maduro they're on the way. It's obvious to me that we're fighting a force, an enemy from within. I don't think people at this point can disavow that. You have to realize our biggest enemy at this point are the people here in our own country working against the betterment of the republic. It's gotten worse. And I don't think for a second that Mark Kelly or Jamie Raskin or even Schumer or any of these guys, Jeffries, would have got on the phone real quick somehow and said, Ixnay, get out of there. 100% believe it.
He knew that Congress was going to know about
that. What we have is just pure cowards within the Republican Party, largely all of them, save for maybe a couple of senators and some members of Congress, that are absolutely not joining us in defending our Article 1 power, and more importantly, defending the interests of this country. The reason why you have our
by your own admission, you're on CNN, where just earlier before you showed up, they just admitted by their own accounting that this guy kills 22,000 Americans. I mean, the obtuseness of these people is beyond accountability. They're insane. And now he's saying they're cowards. I bet you wouldn't say that to their face. I bet you wouldn't call the Delta people, the operators that went in there, the people who flew the planes, who flew the helicopters, I bet you wouldn't call them cowards to their face. They were able to fly over the water, over a compound, get in there, take out Maduro and his wife under the heavy gunfire. Imagine what they could do to your sorry ass.
One part, because you don't want to let idiots like President Donald Trump make foreign policy decisions without there being a check and balance against that. And so, we're going to force votes to make sure that maybe we can put that together. Maybe we can change the narrative. Maybe we'll make it more difficult for this president. But for us to just throw up our hands and say, well, he's going to do whatever he wants, would be a total abdication of our constitutional duties. And again, it allows the Republicans to hide in the shadows and continue to be cowards, and specifically just.
You can see the lower third I have there, and it should be echoing it right now. They got nothing. This is your strategy, to call people cowards? I've seen video renderings. I think I'll probably show it tomorrow of the Delta team and what they had to do. And you're calling the people, not just the ones who executed, but the people who planned it, the people who trained them, they're cowards. Just exactly what part was cowardice? Dana Bash isn't going to ask this guy, who, by the way, his father or whatever was a drug dealer. What part of this was cowardice? What part would you right now say, any of you would say, oh, that's cowardice?
Leave the Constitution behind.
Batya, I just wonder, first of all, A, how is he going to make sure that the country is, quote unquote, run properly? And B, is that now on the table, boots on the ground in Venezuela again, beyond just the operation to get Maduro out?
So if I was on this show, Abby, you ignorant, you know what, how was Maduro running Venezuela? You're saying, how is Trump going to run Venezuela better? We just heard from people saying they eat food out of garbage cans. I'm pretty sure I could run Venezuela better. I'm pretty sure most of the people in the chat could run Venezuela better. I'm even sure you could run Venezuela better, Abby. It's not that tough. Give them some food. We have the money. We got 8 gazillion trillion barrels of oil. Let's go ahead and, call Cuba. Oh, can't call Cuba. They don't have no food either. Great. Socialism really works. Who should we call for some food? Maybe the Dominican Republic. Maybe people who actually enjoy capitalism. Oh, there's your first step. How could you run Venezuela better? Make it a capitalistic society. Oh my gosh, I couldn't even imagine that people enjoying prosperity would be better than eating out of trash. I know you got much time, Abby. Should I keep going? I don't know.
It's very funny to me because it seems like you guys are acting like because a simple operation that was very successful could have accomplished many goals, therefore it couldn't have accomplished any of them. I I say this with all due respect, sir. I'm so grateful to you for the service you've provided to this country. But Venezuela is not Afghanistan. 25 years ago, there was a functioning democracy there. It's just apples and oranges to compare it. There is no way Donald Trump is going to put boots on the ground there. That's what the ships are there for, to not have to do that. What they're doing right now is beyond brilliant, because instead of rushing in and appointing Maria Machado, for example, they're saying, let's wait and see where the Venezuelan people are at. Let's wait until we can have an election. You can't just do that overnight. And so they are sitting there and watching and calibrating and making sure, by the way, that the Venezuelan people, as well as now the new president, understand that whatever they do, this better be good for the United States, because...
And this was this afternoon, and damn if she wasn't right. Hey, you need 50 million barrels of oil? We got you, Donnie. I can't wait to see what they're going to say about that. Oh, he's a pirate. He's stealing oil from Venezuela. I count on it, because they got nothing.
We're not afraid to use our power anymore.
But suffice is to say that many of us, I don't think, were persuaded that the justification that has been articulated publicly by the administration, that this was a law enforcement operation that had anything to do, with keeping the American people safe. We weren't persuaded by, that.
Point of order. Question for a smirking Lawrence O'Donnell and for Hakeem Jeffries. Is there anything in any law written anywhere that says we have to persuade your sorry ass? I mean, you're saying persuade people. I don't have to persuade you. I'm just telling you what we did and what we're going to do. I'm not here to make you feel better about it. I'm not here to persuade you. I don't really care whether you like it or were persuaded. This is what happened, and you can take it and do whatever you want. Persuade? Kiss my...
argument, because they can't explain in clear terms how this helps the national security of the American people in any way, shape, or form.
So I had a fun story over the weekend just going through Maduro's history, because it is such a vile history. All right, he was a drug kingpin. He ran a narcoterrorism group. He consorted with the FARC rebels in Colombia. But the thing that was most shocking to me was the fact that recently he transacted to bring a large number of Iranian drones onto his El Librador base there. And those were long enough range that could potentially strike the United States or U.S. interests.
Well, and thank you for reporting.
John Solomon can show you how it's a threat to America. He just told you. But you weren't persuaded. Okay.
On that story, because it's what explains why Venezuela is so important. There are three things that demand our attention in Venezuela. But C, they're close enough to hit the United States. They're proximate to us. So they can, if they're hostile, represent this kind of a threat. We have the Russians, the Chinese, and the Iranians all mixed up in this situation, all plotting against us. And that the Iranians, who are in dire financial straits, are still trying to run arms through Latin America. It shows you their main priority is to hurt us. So that is why this was so important what President Trump did, and it's why it is going to keep the American people so much safer than we were 72 hours ago.
So it's, in essence, all he had to do was call John Solomon. He would have told him how it makes us safer, since he had no clue. If you don't have any clue as how it makes the United States safer, then maybe leave MSNBC Now or whatever it's called and go over to CNN, and they'll tell you, even with their numbers, 22,000 people were killed. So if he's not there and we stop what's going on, then if we save one life, then the American people were safer. Well, in addition to the 50 million barrels of oil that we just picked up.
What's your reaction when you see people out there protesting to free Maduro?
It's disgusting, both as an American and as a Venezuelan. It's so obvious there's not one Venezuelan in those protests. These people are disrespecting our tragedy, are disrespecting our political prisoners, those we have lost, those who are still in Venezuela's jails, those who are still starving. It's absolutely shameful, and it's a matter, in my opinion, of a threat to national security that our nation's youth and so many are willing to do this against victims of a criminal dictatorship.
Look, I'm sorry, but on this side, you got Mandami's commie saying we got to take the property from white people, but at the same time, the white people are the ones that are protesting against Venezuelans being free. I'm so confused. I don't know how it makes any sense.
I tell you, as Speaker of the House, as the person who's in charge of defending Article 1 powers, I'm just going to insist to you that those have not been traversed in any way by what happened here. The president used his authority under the law. He did so in a way that caused no casualties on the American side, and got the job done with exquisite intelligence and extreme precision that can only be done by the U.S. That's why we are the world's great and last superpower, and we stand for justice, and you're going to see that meted out here. It's overdue, and everyone will be safer because this has happened.
Let me be very clear. As soon as I learned that we had been awarded the Nobel Peace Prize, I dedicated to President Trump because I believed at that point that he deserved it. And a lot of people, most people said it was impossible to achieve what he has just done on Saturday, January 3rd. So if I believed he deserved it on October, imagine now. I think he has proven to the world what he means. I mean, January 3rd will go down in history as the day justice defeated a tyranny. It's a milestone, and it's not only huge for the Venezuelan people and our future, I think it's a huge step for humanity, for freedom and human dignity.
Now, that's the woman, Machado, who was, I guess, the vice president of the guy who actually won the election, and that's who they thought was going to take over, but she has not yet, and President Trump says that she doesn't have the support yet of the Venezuelan people, but we shall see where she ends up. She may end up part of the new administration once it gets in, and I think people were trying to see if she would backtrack and go against Trump because she wasn't immediately endorsed, and what she did is just the opposite. She embraced him further. If I wanted to give him, and I supported him when I got the Nobel Peace Prize, it's even more so now. I more so support President Trump. There's nowhere for the Democrats to go. They are now going to have to make stuff up. They're going to have to deflect and call people cowards and all kinds of crazy stuff because they got nothing. And it's only going to get worse for them.
And yes, you're not unfortunate, which is the most important thing that we have to do as a government, is protect American citizens. Now, there are some other benefits to taking Nicolas Maduro away. And for once, the Cuban people have been in this tunnel for about 60 years. The Venezuelan people have been in this tunnel for about 25 years. And now I can see both the Venezuelan people and the Cuban people can see a light at the end of that tunnel. And this is the beginning of a process. This is not going to be easy. It's probably easier to arrest Nicolas Maduro than it is to convert Venezuela into the democracy that we want. But have no doubt that the day of a free and democratic Venezuela is close at hand. Amen. So what we have to do now is make sure that that we have a transition, that the current regime that's still holding on to power, understands that their days are numbered. Their days are numbered, just like Maduro's days were numbered.
See, that's what the Democrats don't understand. I'm not in the military, but I've talked to some people and I said, you think there's still people there just in case, just watching in case they've got to activate? And like, yeah, there's probably people there in the bushes waiting. Do I get the order to take out the rest of the remnants of the Maduro regime? They're not getting away. You either become compliant, and we're going to give you the opportunity that we gave him. He said no. We're going to give you the opportunity to go fly away to Madagascar and go live on an island and just get out. Otherwise, as President Trump said, something is going to happen worse to you than what happened to Maduro. We had to get Maduro. We want him to be, brought up on charges. You can be turned into pink mist. Nobody will ever know it happened. Hey, one day the guy was walking down the street and then poof, all over. See, the spooks are sitting there and nobody would know that they're there. And when he said that, I realized, they're going to take some of these people out if they don't comply. And then what happened 2 hours ago? Here's 50 million barrels of oil. Good girl. Good girl. Do what you're told here. We'll take that. See, that's a bigger signal than anything thus far since the raid. Every single one of you guys and ladies must be thinking at this point, how did he get her to give him 50 million barrels of oil? Life and continuing life can really matter to some people. You can stay there and be rich and we'll take care of you. You won't be running anything, or you could disappear. Your choice. Send the oil. Okay, you understand.
It's our privilege to work on this endeavor. I want to be clear that Jared and I have been working with Ambassador Kushner for close to 10 hours today, and we'll be meeting with the Ukrainian delegation this evening, continuing that work. Because President Trump's mandate is that he wants a peace in Ukraine, and we are determined on his behalf to do everything possible to attain that peace.
As I was putting the show together, and Robin said the same thing, she's like, how can we keep up? There's so much happening. The Democrats are still sitting here talking about January 6th. We got to have a candlelight vigil. And this guy's getting 50 million barrels of oil. He's got Steve Witkoff over there trying to stop Ukraine and Russia. I mean, buying Greenland. That came out today too. I don't have all the details, but I'll talk about that tomorrow. We're taking over Greenland. All of this stuff it's too much. And he's running circles around these people. Hakeem Jeffries, you're not cut out for this. Chuck Schumer, you're not cut out for this. I don't even think the media is. Now they got to change subjects because here's a story over here and here's another one, and it's only Tuesday. Who knows what he's going to do tomorrow?
A lot of progress began first in Geneva. We made tremendous progress there. We moved on to Berlin. Lots of progress happened there, and as President Zelensky identified, we had a very compelling meeting in Mar-a-Lago, and we look forward to more progress as a result of everything that's occurred today. We think we're largely finished with security protocols, which are important so that the people of Ukraine know that when this ends, it ends forever. But we also think, critically, that we are very, very close to finishing up as robust a prosperity agreement as any country has ever seen coming out of conflicts like this. It will aspirationally mean large, large possibilities for the Ukrainian people, for people coming home from war who will find wonderful jobs out there. We're working with BlackRock, Larry Fink.
Who? Larry Fink? BlackRock? Oh, yeah. MAGA Gaza, MAGA Ukraine, MAGA Venezuela. I mean, we're going to have like resorts all over the world. We're going to be, hey, let's go down to Venezuela for Carnival. Hey, let's go over to Ukraine and like hang out with I don't know what they do for fun in Ukraine. Let's go to Mega Gaza and hang out with, by the beach there. Oh my gosh. The Democrats cannot keep up. I can't keep up, and I do this all damn day. I'm thinking, what's next? I posted something earlier on X. Like, is anybody else like refresh X like this? What else is happening? It just keeps happening. These people are not cut out for this. There's reporters. I'm going to ask, I think we've got Monica Page coming on Thursday. I can't remember what day Ashley has her book. I'm going to ask her that. Monica, how are you guys keeping up? Remember, you had a cadaver in the White House who would call lids at 10 o'clock in the afternoon or morning. And now this guy's got all kinds of things happening all over the world. How do you keep up? Well, obviously, they don't report on most of it. You didn't see any of this on CNN, MSNBC, MSN Now, whatever it's called, CBS, even Fox. Nobody's even talking about there's too many things going on.
This endeavor, and we think it's going to be very, very important for the people of Ukraine. And we believe that a robust economy correlates and works directly with these security protocols. It makes Ukraine a strong, independent nation, and we think that's really important in terms of the long-term future. Jared and I are prepared to do anything necessary to work with our European colleagues. Prime Minister Starmer, you've been incredible, as has Chancellor Merz, and all of the European nations who we met today, who we spoke with. It's all been an important meeting today, and we think we've made a lot of progress.
Prices, they've been under control really all year, and they're ending the year at especially low levels. So
I'm going to close out tonight's show with stuff that's actually probably the best news of the day. This stuff that I'm going to close out because all the other stuff I wanted to get to this point because this is the meat and potatoes.
Average $2.86 a gallon. That's down by 21 cents from a month ago. It's also the lowest level since April of 2021. Now, gas prices were pretty low a year ago, too, but they're even lower right now. When you look across the country, there's 10 states where the average is below $2.50 a gallon, right?
All right, so below $2.50. Wisconsin, Iowa, Colorado, blue Colorado, Kansas, Oklahoma, Arkansas, Texas, Louisiana, Mississippi, and Tennessee. 10 states with gas below $2.50. How do the Democrats counter that? They can't. They can't. When everybody goes to fill up their tank, they can't counter it.
Louisiana, Texas, Wisconsin, Iowa, Colorado. Oklahoma has the cheapest gas price in the country at $2.29 a gallon. And this trend could continue at least for a bit. Gas Buddy is projecting that the national average on Christmas Day will be just $2.79 a gallon. That would take out the low from last year, which was previously the lowest since 2020. And Gas Buddy says this will save drivers about $500 million over what they spent last year.
1.2 gigawatts. I didn't have that ready. $500 million going back into drivers across the country, back into their own pockets. And that was before he cut the deal or took the deal or dictated the deal to Venezuela. If we're at 275, 250 in some states, and that's before the deal with Venezuela, what do you think is going to happen long term?
Collectively. Not each, collectively. And so, look, this hopefully will help people kind of feel a little bit better about their wallets.
Another strong day for stocks to start 2026. The Dow with another record high high, up nearly 500 points. The S&P 500 also closing at a new record high. Looks like 69.44 as we settle out here. The Nasdaq up 2/3%. Another good day for the Russell 2000 as well. That was up more than 1%. As the Dow takes over leadership from tech, we are seeing materials, industrials. Those are among today's sector leaders. The Dow transports, which fall in the industrials group, those were also hitting an all-time high today. Materials continue to be driven higher by rising prices for metals. Silver back to $80.
Look at those prices. Silver at the time that they filmed this was $81.19 earlier. I think it's at about 80 right now. It keeps fluctuating. Gold broke 4,500. Copper. Not a lot of people talk about copper. 6,000. Platinum 2,400. This is the kind of stuff that the Democrats can't respond to. There's nothing they can say about this kind of breaking news where everything at this point seems like it's coming up roses for what Trump wants to do. And yet we've got panicans. We've got people out there trying to say midterms don't look well. Okay.
There's an ounce. We've got more on that coming up.
It is booming. It's up another 450 points today. As you can see now, nearly almost approaching 50,000. This says President Trump views soaring stock prices as a win for his tariff agenda. Let's bring in Fox Business host Larry Kudlow, who says a Trump boom could translate into major gains for Republicans in the midterms. I don't know how you look at this any other way but an economic boom. I mean, you and I were just talking oil and gas. Since President Trump stepped foot back in office, oil prices are now down 26%. Gas prices are now, as of today, down double digits, down 10%.
It's the most overlooked, underreported. I'm not saying you don't. I've talked about it at some length. It's going to drop. I mean, you've basically gone in the last year from $80 oil to about $57, $58, something like that. I don't think you've hit the bottom yet.
This is before the 7 o'clock announcement tonight. It's dropped that far, and now we're going to be getting tens of millions of gallons of oil and what that's going to end up doing once it gets refined. I just want you to just imagine if gas was sub $1 again. If gas became 99 cents. It's January. And when I keep hearing people thinking like they've got some sort of crystal ball, I'm thinking you have no idea what's going to happen next. What happens when the Ukraine-Russia war stops? What happens when you see something where it's going to be 50 million barrels a month or week coming from Venezuela? I mean, this thing is going to take off. What happens if we see silver get up to $90 an ounce or gold to 5,000? At this point, we're all just spectators going, this is just amazing. And yet they're talking today about January 6th. You completely lost the plot. And I can't believe I will not put any faith in any poll anywhere that says at this point that we are going to lose the midterms. Who in their right mind would want to go back to what the Democrats were doing? I would love for someone to ask that question. Would you prefer to go back to the way Joe Biden was running the country? Hell no.
Venezuela doesn't figure in this yet. That's a separate issue. We are producing, with drill, baby drill, we are producing 13.9 million barrels a day of oil. That is a record. Call it 14. We are producing record volumes of natural gas, okay? Prices are coming down. Supply is going up, okay? That is, and this is such an important point, going to affect the inflation rate. For heaven's sakes, oil is so important. Petroleum-related product. Can I just give you an abbreviated Kudlow list? Aspirin, computer keyboards, computer monitors, eyeglasses, fertilizers, think food, fertilizers, okay, very important. Golf balls, hearing aids, glasses, laptops, lipstick, pajamas, pantyhose, parachutes, pharmaceuticals. There are hundreds of items that are directly affected by petroleum-related products. So oil coming down, as you're saying, 25% in the last year. We haven't seen it hit yet on the consumer price index. It's very possible monthly CPIs will print negative. They will print negative. Now, people will say, blah, 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 blah. It's because demand is less. No. It's because of the importance of drill, baby, drill, which was a Mr. Trump policy. And let me also add, let's not make this any harder than it needs to be, because now he's selling it. You got supply-side tax cuts, you've got deregulation, you've got drill, baby, drill, and you've got free and fair reciprocal trade. All of this is generating a boom in this economy,
Just think of that. Think about that. The stuff from the big, beautiful bill, no tax on tips, no tax on overtime, no tax on Social Security. That stuff is just getting ready to go into effect. So with all of this stuff being put together and seemingly things are happening very well, very quickly on various different fronts, how can we possibly be looking at losing the midterms? I want to focus on good stuff, and I'm like, this is fantastic. It's also fantastic that the Democrats are having candlelight vigils about January 6th. That's absolutely incredible. And what I showed you last night, I want to dovetail, and the last thing I want to show you is last night we talked about some of the stuff regarding, the election back then. And I was showing you a lot of the data that nobody was allowed to see. And I want to bring your attention, and I want you to start focusing on what Harmeet Dillon is doing. Harmeet Dillon, this came out about 5 minutes ago. The Trump DOJ and Harmeet Dillon just sued Arizona and Connecticut because they're hiding the voter rolls. Almost half of all 50 states are now being sued. All states need to perfectly secure elections. The era of cheating must come to an end. Keep pushing. Half, 25 states, I bet you all of them are blue states, have been fighting and are going through lawsuits to merely provide the voter rolls. If that doesn't tell you or doesn't give you pause to think about what is coming, I don't know what else will. They're cheating in everything, the SNAP, the daycare, all this stuff, and they're cheating with the other stuff. And it's only a matter of time before they get the rolls and find out these people are all dead. These people are all newcomers. What in the hell have you been doing? It's starting now in January. I don't think any of these pollsters are asking their questions even to themselves. What happens with this lawsuit? What happens with her suing 25 different states for voter rolls? What is going to happen when all these people who are being caught on fraud are exposed? I love it. I love what he's doing, and I just hope he continues to do it because all these people deserve to be completely exposed. I love it. All right, here. Yep, Laura says their gooses are cooked. Connecticut is a mess. I like to feel safe again. I'm from Connecticut. I know how bad it is up there. They can't go against President Trump. You're seeing their responses right now. What do they have that they're going to continue messaging about from now until November? So that's a big question. If they were going to be a formative opponent beyond the cheating, what are they offering anybody at this point? Which goes back to what President Trump said this morning. Dude, do something about the healthcare stuff. Do whatever you need to do. Get it done. Get the money back to the people. They're done. They don't have anything to talk about. Absolutely nothing. I believe half the Maduro thing is about the corrupt voting machines and proof of the connection between rhinos, Democrats, and the communist regime. And you left out one thing there, the deep state. The Trump train is rolling, and that's for sure. Remember when Hillary Clinton says if he gets elected again, we're all going to hang. Uh-huh. Private Cocaine Kelly is getting very paranoid. Yeah, it's to the point where he's screaming and swearing on television. Doesn't look pretty confident there, does he? What happened to America? We've turned into a nation of fraudster. We turned into a half of a nation of fraudster because they allowed it to happen. And it's crazy. Timmy is eating his tampons. A lot of roughage in there. Yeah, exactly. And yep, I'm going to close with this one. Obliterate. That's exactly what you have to remember. And if you remember that, you continue to remember that that's what he talked about and that's where he's heading with things, then you know what's coming. Or maybe not know what's coming. Every day may be something different, but the end result is he wants to obliterate the deep state. And so we just need to keep our focus right there. All right, let me do super chats. And tomorrow is Wednesday. I'm not sure what's going on. They usually release it about 10 o'clock, but I haven't seen anything in terms of what's they're going to be doing tomorrow. But I will let you know. All right, so Pekoski, I would like to buy a hat. I think it will look good on me. One of these hats? Why don't you get a hold of one of the mods? Maybe we can find a way to get one to you. Pekoski, this is like a battlefield of good ideas. Benedetto Salerno. Right now, President Trump is doing 1,000 times better than those jokes Biden and Kamala. How come so hard for our president to get credit? The media, they have to be. Yes, the media has to be taken down. They have to be. People are going to complain and talk about First Amendment, but they just lie. Kelly, don't forget Cash Knows POTUS had the guard ready. Deplorable Greg Dredge. I was there January 6th. Our president told us to go peacefully. Also saw a busload of people changing into Trump support garb as I was leaving. I bet you that comes out. Mr. Fisher, Obama was in the Minnesota CFO. He didn't become a billionaire from a $50 billion Netflix deal, which who's even watching those shows? Chiosop, they will get the tenants to stop paying and force the landlords. They will code enforce them into submission. They have the judges in their pockets. I hope not. I mean, that would be crazy. Tim, how you doing, Tim? Thought Trump preemptively pardoned citizens for not paying their 2025 Irish tax debts. That would be interesting. If he's going to challenge a preemptive pardon again that Biden did, I don't know if you want to go there. I don't know what's going to happen with taxes. Deborah, Barry, our governor, witless and she's been awful quiet, hasn't she? She's raised our gas 60 more cents. Just took effect today, $2.99. Wow. Tania, never guessed Carrot Top would be housing commissioner in New York. That's funny. Leona Harris, CNN, none of the media doesn't care nothing for the American people. Democrats need to stop saying the American people because you don't care about us. Nope, not at all. Donna Mega, they didn't complain when military captured Hussein or went in and shot and wasted Osama bin Laden. What do you do with a warrant? You arrest them. Absolutely. Hello, Neil. So much winning. Our president is nonstop, bringing the world to peace. We must continue to pray. God is answering our prayers. Yes, indeed. And Mariah, thank you. And Fume Drummer, hey, haven't heard from you in a while. I need to see voter ID required for all federal elections for this term to be considered successful. I think it's coming. I think it's definitely coming. I think getting those voter rolls is probably critical to that happening. And then, of course, if we have voter ID, they're done. They would be completely done at that time. And there was one late one that came in here. Let me move this up here. And it says, please wish my wife, Kathy, a happy POW birthday. Kathy, happy birthday. Happy birthday. All right. Happy birthday, Kathy. All right, everybody. Hopefully, what am I missing? SV texted me. Yep, I got it. I just got it. The late one. He's like, yeah, you got it. Yep, I got it. All right. So see you guys tomorrow. What a day. What a long day. All right. Talk to you later.
Bye.